Hey, this is Nick Loper from SideHustleNation.com and the Side Hustle Show podcast, and you're listening to Tim Spence on the Apps for Truckers podcast. Thanks for all that you do, and drive safe out there.
Welcome to the Apps for Truckers podcast. And here is your host, Tim Spence.
Well, that special intro was from Nick Loper of the Side Hustle Nation podcast. He is in the voting for #1 business podcast, voted one of the top 10 business podcasts in the podcast awards that are coming up on, I think, April 16th. And we'll be talking about him later on, but a quick thank you to Nick Loper. Well, spring is in the air, that's for sure, and we're getting kicked off with a little bit of a new format now. For podcast 11, we've got 3 guests lined up. First of all, we're going to talk to Maria with Trucker Path Pro. If you don't know about it, you need to listen today. On top of that, we've got Buck Black, who is with truckertherapy.com, going to talk about therapy for truckers. And a special surprise today. Instead of you listening to me saying everything that I think on the Apps for Truckers commentary, today we have Tex Crowley of Texmatic Pictures. He's going to give us his thoughts on a recent video that was presented on livetrucking.com. So stay tuned, but first of all, we're going to do our regular segment on a common app that you can download to make your life on the road a lot easier.
Please welcome the featured smartphone app.
Well, even though we're breaking with the norm that we usually do, doing a featured app for the podcast, we've got something special going on with trucker apps right now. But our featured app for this podcast is an app called Just Wink. Now, Just Wink is put out by American Greetings. This, in particular, is a nice application because not only can you send e-cards from this application, you can send cards through the mail at about the same price if you were stopping by a Walmart or Target or a gift card shop. The cards usually run in the $2 to $3 to $4 range sometimes, and you can send a nice card to someone with a special message, even a photo that you took from your phone. You can do that through Just Wink. Also, it can sync up with your Facebook and pull up the birthdays of your friends, and you can check which ones you want to be reminded of, whether it be the day of or 7 days previous. You're only charged for special cards that you buy, or if you decide to mail them out, but you can actually send them on Facebook, you can send them by email. It's a nice application to help you keep on top of things and sometimes even stay in good graces with the folks who you usually forget their birthday. Not to say that that has ever happened to me. Nonetheless, the link to the app is in the show notes. Check it out. It is a worthwhile investment because it's free. The e-cards, as long as they're not premium e-cards, are free. You can personalize them. And if you want to send something special through the mail, have it remind you 7 days ahead of time, and you can make sure that it gets there on time. By the way, you can also attach gift cards to this. This is an excellent tool for everyone who is on the road. So download it when you get the chance, and we'll be moving on to our other featured app for this podcast. Well, usually when we are exploring apps on Apps for Truckers, we're using common everyday apps to see what their uses can be for making life on the road a lot easier. But today we're taking a little bit of a twist, and we're actually doing a trucker app. It is called Trucker Path Pro. It was probably one of the most common, if not the most popular trucker apps in the U.S. right now. I have Maria with the marketing of Trucker Path Pro. How are you doing, Maria?
I'm good, Tim. How are you?
I'm doing great. I've been looking over the app, and I downloaded the app to try to kind of get the new user experience. And overwhelmingly, I'm impressed. I do want to ask you a few questions about the app, but let's talk about it right off the top. How did this app come about?
So in 2013, our CEO and a few of his other friends were just sitting around talking, and they came across a group of ex-truck drivers, and they just started talking about how communications between truck drivers changed, how the roads changed, and technology really influencing the way truck drivers use technology every day. So just from the conversation, some ideas started flying around, and that's how Trucker Path was created.
Okay. When did the app actually launch?
2013.
Okay. So it didn't take too long to birth it, actually.
Nope. We figured we will launch the app, and if there's any changes that need to be made, we will listen to our users, and we'll make changes as we go.
A ready, fire, aim mentality. I like that. Well, sometimes that's the way things get done, is just go ahead and do it, and we'll fix the kinks later. So tell me, what are the primary functions of the app? You might be able to tell me something that I don't actually see. So
this app is created for truck drivers, but we had a lot of people who came up to us and said, look, I'm not a truck driver, but I use this app constantly. I have 4 kids in the family, and I want to know when is the next truck stop, where we can park, all the information, even if there's phone numbers available, street addresses, if you want to go ahead and ask them, no problem, all the information available. But main purpose, especially for a new user, when you open the app, there's a lot of information, and that's where a lot of people get overwhelmed. You kind of have to pick and choose what you want. We give you a lot of options, but it's up to you to customize the app. So we're not a navigational system. We don't do a step-by-step direction. We think there's a lot of companies that do that, and that's great, but it's not our concentration.
Right.
We're actually concentrating on helping you on your route plan ahead and see what stops you want to make. Our biggest feature of the app is actually weight scales. So we will show you how many weight scales on your route, and we actually will show you if it's open or closed. It's all updated by other drivers on the road. So it's really up to date. It's really up to minute. When you check, it will say closed 19 minutes ago, open 7 minutes ago, meaning that at that time somebody passed it and they physically updated it through app, letting everybody else know. And you can put in your input and actually change it and let other people know that it's still open or closed.
Now, I can tell you the first question that is popping into a driver's mind right now. This is powered by other drivers. How many active drivers are using this right now?
February 2015, we are at 150,000 active users.
Oh my
meaning
gosh.
People interact with the app, yes, at least once a day. We are growing by 3,000 users every day. So I can't tell you exact numbers. We just started promoting, and we actually met a lot of drivers at our current expos that we visited.
Right.
And yes, the numbers are going up, but it's great because the more users we have, the more information will be updated on the app, letting everybody else know.
So you were at the Mid-America Truck Show in Louisville in March of 2015. I think you had a lot of people actually download the program on site, didn't you?
We love our users, and we love to interact with them. So when we were at Mid-America, we were giving away iPads, and everybody who came up just asking us about the app or, a friend of a friend told me, and I don't really know how to use this button. So we had 6 people on staff. We personally give information to every single person. We answered all the questions that they had, and a lot of people actually downloaded the app on the spot because somebody else told them about it, but they never used it before, and the reviews were awesome. We did give away iPad to one lucky winner. It was great. It was a great experience, and I would say that, 30-40% of people that we met daily actually had an app installed already. There's one more thing I wanted to tell you. It's really exciting news. So all of our reviews on truck stops, all of our reviews, anything that has to do with the app is done by truck drivers, meaning that if a truck stop has 3 stars and it says that their showers are dirty, their showers are dirty. It's everything posted by a truck driver that's been there. A company cannot pay and get a 5-star review if somebody says it's a 2-star company. So it helps all the other drivers to actually see before they make a stop, if there is truck stops, how many there are, how many showers, what are reviews on restaurants nearby, what are reviews on the staff, what are reviews on safety. Everything is done. And coming soon, we will be launching another feature where if you pull up a truck stop, you'll be able to see how many parking spots are available as of right now.
Yeah, in this day and age, that is big, because I cannot tell you how many times, even years ago when I pulled into a truck stop and only to have to leave and I was out of hours, I needed to find a place to park right away. That is huge.
Yep. And again, just like it's done with the wait stations, it's all done through other drivers. It'll be done through drivers that are on that truck stop right now. So it will be constantly updated, that are updated through our app, and the truck drivers that are at the location at the time.
Awesome. Well, I just got onto the app, and I was not aware of the reviews. And actually, I started pulling up the place details. I pulled up a truck stop here. It tells me if they have scales, if they have Wi-Fi, how many showers do they have, do they have DEF? Let's see, how many parking spots do they have? What's their phone number? Then we have reviews. We have nearby restaurants and how. Good grief, it's how close they are to the place.
Yeah.
This is, Maria, this is the kind of thing that we used to publish in a book many years ago, and the books would sell out because
we actually hear it all the time. I used to have books. I used to have maps. I used to have, half a truck worth of stuff that helped me out, but now it's all available with a touch of a button.
That's wonderful. Now, this parking feature, what do you think the release date of that? Just ballpark it for me.
Beginning of May.
Okay. And if they see it before then the luckier
start
they are.
Using it. Yes, start using it. And one more thing, now that you're going through app, I want you to check one more thing, and I think a lot of people love this option.
Okay.
It's really useful for everybody. If you go on a wait station, and it'll show you a status if it's open or closed.
Okay.
There is a button next to it that says history.
Okay, I'm going to pull that up right now.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to the wonderful Lauderdale, Mississippi way station here on I-20, Tumsuba and Lauderdale. So I can actually touch that. And what am I looking for here?
Do you have Apple or Android?
I have an Android.
Okay. So on Android, you're going to click at the actual icon.
All right. I'm there. So I see change status 51 minutes ago. It's open now.
Yep. So 51 minutes ago, somebody passed by and they said that it's open.
Right.
If you would have passed it right now and it's still open, you would have clicked the open button and it would say a minute ago somebody updated it.
Wow.
We recommend after 45 minutes double checking it. And as our users keep growing,
your time response will get better.
There you go.
Absolutely.
And if you click on the history button,
that's exactly where I just went.
Yep. And if you look on it, you'll see when it was closed and when it was open. And you can go days behind and actually check that information.
Okay.
A lot of guys.
I want to look at this right now because this ought to speak a testament to this app. I see one recorded 52 minutes ago, 2 hours ago to every. Good grief, there's sometimes it's every 10 to 15 minutes. We have a lot of participation here. This is excellent. This is really good.
And if you look at the history and you're looking for a certain period of time that you're driving on that piece of road, you would actually look through history and you can see a pattern if they're usually open or closed at that time.
On the stats?
Yep.
Wow, that is really good because it's giving time frames. You can almost see, you can definitely see a pattern here. Wow, that's cool.
A lot of people use it to pre-plan your trip.
Yeah, I can understand that. That is amazing. This speaks a lot how easy it is to use, and not only that, how popular the app is encouraging participation with everyone. There's a camaraderie out there between drivers. No matter how we act sometimes when we're out on the road, there's a camaraderie out there that we do need to help each other. And this app just fuels that camaraderie. This is wonderful. I love it.
Thank you.
I've included in the show notes every way that they can get in touch with you if needed on the website, as well as links to download it from the Play Store, from the iTunes Store.
Simple as that. You can go to Play Store, you can go to Apple Store and download it 100% free. You can go to our website, truckerpath.com, download it through there. You can go to our Facebook and actually get information from there. If anybody wants to get a hold of us and they have specific questions or comments, they can always email us. It's on our website, or they can leave us a message on Facebook, or there's actually an option to go through your app, and it says contact technical support. If you just send any information that you can think of improving services to be when you're on the road, or any other features that would be really great for truck drivers, always encourage people to send our message. We do have people that work 24 hours to make sure everything runs smoothly, and they're definitely looking at all of this stuff and updating information.
Well, that's excellent, too, because as I have looked and researched a lot of applications, being able to get in touch with someone there with a question or maybe a feature idea is sometimes these developers are hiding behind the app, and you can't even get in touch with them. This is huge. I really like this, and as I can tell from the active user count of over 150,000 now, that's amazing. Maria, I appreciate the time you've taken to be on the Apps for Truckers podcast with me to talk about the app. Is there any other thing you want to add?
Just want to say thank you for having us. It's a pleasure. And remember, download the app, leave a comment, visit on Facebook. We do give giveaways every month to all the users.
Yeah, that's what I was wanting to ask. You gave away an iPad at Matt's. So what do you have any contests, things like that?
We always do contests, and most of the times you will see rules on Facebook. It's through drivers. There will be. I don't want to give out too much information, but we will be doing a different context with app, with the truck stops. We are actually just launched 115 truck stops that are going to advertise our posters, and we will have a contest. If you find a poster, take a selfie, upload it to our Facebook page. We will be picking the winner. But to find out what the rules are, you have to log into our Facebook and actually become our friends. But we love our friends. Our friends love us. There's always giveaway. Last time we gave away 10 iPads.
Oh, that's cool. That's a really big prize. And
it's just appreciation to all of our clients.
Oh, absolutely. So they got to get on Facebook to be able to see what's going on. So
yep.
That's definitely, if you download the app, you're listening today, and you download the app, make sure you go to Facebook and hit the like button so that you can see it in your news feed when they've got something going on, and check back there frequently. If you're an active driver right now, this app will be on your mind because you will be actively using it and contributing to the well-being of other drivers too. But again, thank you, Maria, and hopefully we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Tim. The pleasure is all ours.
And just as a side note, Maria did tell me that they are going to be at the Great American Truck Show in the Dallas-Fort Worth area in August of this year, so make sure you stop by and tell them you heard about it on Apps for Truckers.
And now presenting the featured podcast.
The featured podcast for Apps for Truckers number 11 is Side Hustle Nation. And as you heard at the beginning of the podcast, the intro was done by Nick Loper, the one who runs that and does the podcast. He also runs a very cool website and a lot of different businesses that would be, I guess you could say, a conglomeration of many different side hustles. Now, let me back up for a second here. Some of you may be saying, what's a side hustle? A sideline job, something you do besides your regular job, something that I have seen that truckers are probably the king of. Why? Because there are so many hours spent driving a truck and so much idle time for the mind to think that a lot of times drivers are looking for ways to make extra money. That is why this podcast, The Side Hustle Nation, is something you might want to check out. Now, a lot of the things on the podcast are about making money online, but there are a lot of things in there that are inspiring stories, as well as stories to make you think, maybe make you think about making a little bit extra here and there, or even starting something that may take over your full-time employment. Those of you who have a spouse, you might want to think about having them tune in. They might consider looking at Side Hustle Nation to help make a few extra bucks around the house. If not, to start something that they can stay around the house more and still make a good income. But really, a lot of times it is because of debt. It's because of not making enough money behind the wheel that we look into these things. One of the things that Nick Loper said on his site is, and basically I'm going to read it to you. He says, "I'm an entrepreneur involved in a variety of projects. Like any business, it has its ups and downs. It can be stressful, but I learn something new every day. I started this site because I believe in the hustle. After all, what's riskier, starting a business or relying on your job as the sole source of income? I used to work full-time for a giant corporation, but I built my biz nights and weekends, and you can do it too. Everyone's got their own reason, whether it be earning more money, paying off debt, learning new skills, using your free time more productively, or just to escape the rat race." That was just a little bit from his About page, and what this actually has inspired me to do is to start a side hustle page. One of the things that I see quite often is drivers are wanting to get into a certain business, but they have no guide to do so, and guides to do that are very hard to find. I am moving to start offering manuals on different side hustles on the Side Hustle page. That will be coming soon, so be looking for that. I would also like to say that podcasts themselves can help you to inspire a certain idea or make that idea flourish. You've got to remember, when we're on the road taking care of business, we see that we're not able to always get good input from outside sources. And this is one way you could do it. Listen to the way others have done it and apply some of their lessons to you. Check out the podcast at sidehustlenation.com.
Oh no, here he goes again. The Apps4Truckers Commentary.
So today, as promised, we have a guest commentary with Tex Crowley of Texamatic Pictures. Tex, how are you doing?
I am good, Tim. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty excellent, trying to recover from a wild week. How was your week?
It was pretty good. I was home just about every day this week. It worked out.
Well, sometimes that's good.
yeah, sometimes. I usually get, like most guys, maybe your best sleep on the road, because you kind of get away from everything. But it was a pretty good week. Didn't run into anything, so we're doing all right.
I hear you. Well, we talked a few months ago. Just real quickly, what's been going on in the Texamatic world?
Well, we are working diligently on getting some recruiting videos together for different companies. I've got a couple of companies I've been talking back and forth with, and don't have anything laid out yet, but I'm trying to make some recruiting videos or safety videos or things along those lines, basically at their direction. They want a certain genre of video. I want to be able to provide that for them. And I try to meet up with other drivers and, just make a video about their story, who they are, what they do, why they do it, what they love about the job, what they hate about the job. And I've got 10 of those that are out there online right now. I've also got 3 generations of drivers in the family that live not too far from here that I'm trying to line up with them here in another couple of weeks, get their story. The oldest person of the family, the granddad, he's 81 years old and runs the bulldozer service here in town, and he still drives from time to time. So I find that pretty amazing. I'd love to get that story down on video and share that with everybody. I think it's a pretty neat story.
It's a very good topic for the heritage of the truck driver. That's excellent.
Absolutely. So we've been doing that, and then just driving a truck, going around delivering windows to different lumber yards and Home Depot and whatnot all around Texas.
Awesome indeed. Now, today our topic is kind of based off of not only a passion of yours, But something recently that I had seen on probably one of our favorite sites, Live Trucking. The title of the video was "Car Tries to Force Its Way in Front of a Semi. The Results, She'll Never Try This Again." I don't know. You've watched the video. Just give me your feelings on it.
Well, my feelings are that particular driver who was in the left lane, the truck driver, I'm more than certain that he saw the individual in the car trying to get over and just didn't want to let her over and took it way too far. Very unprofessional way of doing things. I mean, actually running into that car and putting her life on the line. We don't need to be doing that. That guy hopefully is not driving for that company or really any other truck right now. That's kind of how I see it. If you're going to be that kind of individual who's going to be that aggressive, especially an 18-wheeler, you really don't need to be out here with it.
Right, and I need to put pride in the passenger seat.
Absolutely.
Well, concerning when we look at it from the non-professional driver's point of view, this possibly has some negative implications on us as professional drivers.
It does. I mean, you think about it, if I'm just, average Joe who doesn't know anything about truck driving sees that's just one more thing that I've seen that scares me to death about trucks. And, these guys, they think they own the road, this, that, and the other. And then, if you're watching that on YouTube, you've got your suggested videos beside it. There's another one that's kind of similar, and another one that's kind of similar. And all of a sudden, they can get the mindset that, well, all these trucks are like this. I mean, to put it out there like that, it's just not a good thing. This age of video where everybody has a video camera in their pocket via their cell phone, we're seeing things, and they're becoming so easily accessible to see that it just, we've got to clean our image up, and we've really got to pay attention to the fact that anybody can record anything at any time. And it happens to be that this guy recorded himself doing it. It's his dash cam, and then getting it up online. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, the dash cams themselves, that's supposed to, as far as I'm concerned, if everything's being recorded as I'm rolling down the road, that's something to keep me in line. It's not something to keep everybody else in line.
Exactly. I mean, if I've got the camera, well, I do not have a dash cam in my truck, but if I've got one and it's rolling, I'm like you. I'm gonna be absolutely safe because I don't want anything coming back to me.
Let's talk more in the area of posterity. What can we actually do to prepare the trucking industry, the trucking world, to be a better place in your mind?
Well, in my mind is to have an open mind, and it starts when you're on the road and you see another driver doing something that isn't necessarily the right thing. Don't go up to them and be all aggressive and everything and yelling at them. There's no point in that. Just like in the truck stop, if a guy's having a hard time moving his tandems or whatever, young guy, looks like he hasn't been out there very long, go over and help him. Don't sit there and talk on the radio to another driver. Look at this guy. He can't do his job, or whatever it is. There's no point in that. Get out there, give him a hand.
Right.
Take his hand and say, hey, I've been there before. Here's what you need to do. And, without talking down to anybody. I mean, that's just one small example. We've got to help them out, because I know that there was a time for me and everybody else where I didn't know what this thing did. I didn't know what pull this lever and this happens or whatever it is, because I learned a lot. I went into a 6-week-long driving school back in 94, I think it was, and, I learned a lot, and I did not learn everything. So we've got to be, the ones to share the knowledge that we've got and not do it in a way where we're talking down to.
Yeah, sometimes we got to step out of our own skin, walk a mile in another driver's moccasins, or drive a mile in their driving gloves, however you want to look at it. It's just very, very necessary for us to get up off our butts instead of sitting there complaining about it, and be more of an activist in our own industry by helping one driver at a time.
Yeah, it comes down to, I put a video out almost a year ago, and I just called it Fixed Trucking. It's like all one word. I was just basically saying the only way to change the image, it can't be done from an ad campaign somewhere, that costs $1 million, we look out for trucks and whatever. I mean, that's one component that helps, but we have to fix ourselves. We have to be out here helping each other out, looking each other in the eye when you go in the truck stop. I'm just as guilty as anybody else. I mean, I look down, I get in get what I need out of the truck stop and get out. And I'm somewhat antisocial. That lends itself to the job because you aren't in an office with a bunch of other people, but we have to connect out here. And just last night, or night before, there was about 7 of us going back and forth on the CB radio, just talking and having a good time, talking about old trucks, talking about, one guy said he had, 4 or 5 pounds of steak or hamburger or whatever. He's like, if anybody's got a grill, let's get out here. Let's all gather around and have hamburgers. Nobody had a grill. But the thing was, the intent was there, let's get out, let's talk about stuff and whatever. And that's pretty neat. That just doesn't happen too often anymore.
Yeah, I don't know, in as long as I drove, I don't think I've ever had that happen to just guys who have just been rolling down the road and just talking. Many times I've actually pulled in and sat and had a cup of coffee with somebody so we could continue a conversation, or guys who I actually ran with the same company. That's a special experience there.
Yeah, definitely. It was kind of neat. It took me back to, years ago. I remember, a couple different times where either I've had a grill or whatever, and just, hey, come on out. I'd have, some guy would bring, bag of chips, another guy would bring a 12-pack of sodas, just whatever, and just kind of gather around. I mean, it hasn't happened often, but when it has, it's been memorable.
Absolutely. I appreciate you taking the time to talk about the driver image and what we've got going on, and to be the first guest for the Apps4Truckers commentary. How can we find you?
Yeah, let me just say I'm honored to be here today. It was fun. It was good. Got me an opportunity to hop into the office here and have a good conversation. But to find me online, I'm all over. You can just, in Google, you can just type the word Texomatic, Texomatic, or Texomatic.com. That's my film site, website for commercial work and whatnot. But there's a couple of videos there. You can kind of follow the links along and find a bunch of my other stuff. I've been putting videos out online since 2006, so there's a few out there to choose from.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we'll have all your contact information as well as a little bit about what you do in the show notes as well. Tex, thanks so much for coming on board, and hopefully we'll be talking again soon.
You got it, Tim. Appreciate it.
After the recording was done, Tex and I got to talking about a couple of different places to eat, and one thing that he mentioned along his route sometimes on I-35 in the city of West Texas, said there's a cattle auction out there called West Auction Company. It's got a 24-hour restaurant, serves some great Czech German food. He said, try the sausage and sauerkraut with the German potatoes. He said, they are excellent, but it's a 24-hour restaurant. It may be something you don't know about, but you might want to check out if you're running down I-35 through West Texas. And here's just a quick note. If you would like to help the Apps4Truckers podcast stay on the air, I have a new sponsor to talk about. Their name is Zenio Digital Magazines. If you are tired of reading the same old garbage online and you just find that the regular magazines that you were reading just had better content and you like the features, check out Zenio Digital Magazines. I've got their link in the show notes. You can actually subscribe to the magazines and have them downloaded to your tablet, to your iPhone, Android, to your computer. When a new issue comes out, you don't have to go looking for it. It is automatically downloaded to your device. So check them out. They advertise that most of your favorite magazines can be subscribed to for up to 80% off the cover price. So check it out. Also, new on the podcast webpage, there is a donate button. You can donate by PayPal. You can donate with your debit card. I appreciate everything you do. If you like the podcast, you can show the love that way too.
My mom always said life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
As we say in this segment, you never know what you're going to get. The Box of Chocolates segment for this podcast is an interview that I just did with a young man named Buck Black. He operates a website and a counseling firm known as truckertherapy.com. It was a very interesting interview. There's some good information here and just some good stuff. So take a listen. Buck, thanks for coming on board with us.
Oh, thanks so much, Tim.
First of all, where is your office located? I know you're in Indiana. Is that correct?
Right. I'm in Lafayette, Indiana, just off I-65 north of Indy. I do have an office where I talk with people as far as relationship issues, stress, anger management, that kind of thing. And then I specialize in working with truckers, largely over the phone and Skype and FaceTime, and they're also welcome to come to my office as well.
Cool. Now, one of the things that has always been a big running theme in our website and podcast is helping truckers to transition more into the technological lifestyle. And this is kind of fits right along with that, because we're seeing counseling possibly being handled over Skype, like you were saying. What kind of took you down this road?
Back when I was a new therapist, given that I'm here in Indiana, had a lot of truck drivers as clients. And over time, I noticed that one of two things would happen. Either I would see my truck driver client like once a month, once every 6 weeks, something like that, because they had to go out on the road, and that didn't work very well for therapy whatsoever. Therapy is generally you come in once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks, but definitely not once every month or two. So I either saw them, come in very infrequently, or I would see them take time off the road so they could see me once a week. And
Right.
That's not very efficient either, and very few drivers have the luxury of being able to do that. So I thought, well, there's surely something I can do to bring my services to them. I went through some trainings on how to use video conferencing and phone with clients, and then trucker therapy was born as a result.
We're in that age now where people, especially truck drivers, we're busy, and we're so busy we don't have time to get to an office sometimes. Whereas technology was supposed to make things easier, well, here we are. We can make it easier and actually take that step and do something we need to do, and it's better than a phone call.
Right. And what I found is that there's a variety of ways that people receive doing any kind of distance services. If you just use the term distance service, that's a catch-all for phone, Skype, and what have you, even instant messaging. The people that are comfortable with the technology, they really enjoy it and they get a lot out of it.
Right.
There are plenty of people who, they only like the face-to-face, the kneecap-to-kneecap. That's all that they like. If you do anything electronic, it doesn't work for them. So in general, truck drivers, by default, they're going to be pretty good with at least the phone, and many of them, video conferencing, they're good with that as well. So that's why it's a pretty good fit with what I do. But I do have some drivers that they do stop past the office only when they're in the area, and that's the only time I talk with them.
What type of issues are you dealing with mostly with professional drivers who call in? What seems to be where they're saying, I need to find some help on this subject. Aunt Trudy and Uncle Mike can't help me here. Apparently we're just not thinking down the right way. I'm having trouble dealing with this. What are you seeing mostly?
Anger, stress, and relationships. Those are the three things that I keep seeing throughout my practice, even in my office. The same holds true with truck drivers. I would say, like, more specifically for the truckers, it would be loneliness. And, you have drivers who are out on the road for weeks, if not, I have some who are out for months at a time. It's just that isolation, and then there's more stress, and then maybe they will call home on a regular basis, but the quality of the communications break down. There's more likely to be arguments. So not only do you have the stress and you've got the loneliness, then you get the irritability, and it can quickly become a snowball. Just things become quite broken, mind, body, and spirit.
So personally, I've got over 20 years on the road myself, and one thing I have noticed that many times I was ready to call home and Mama wasn't ready. In fact, Mama wasn't in the mood. She wasn't in the mood to talk. She wasn't in the mood to. She wasn't in the mood to be alive. I mean, you can't. We get out there and we get in our own little bubble, and sometimes what can get dangerous a lot of times I have seen is that you get in your own little bubble and all of a sudden you're bouncing around an idea that all of a sudden you start to believe that idea, and the only place it was birthed is inside your own head. So
sure.
It can get very aggravating.
And I'll tell you, Tim, I'm glad that you mentioned that, because that is something that I talk with drivers about on a regular basis. And they talk about all the things that they come up with. And sometimes they're thinking about how everyone is plotting against them.
Yeah.
And when a person has too much time on their hands, that can happen.
Yeah.
And another is when a driver does nothing but listen to the news, any kind of negative talk radio, anything like that, then that fuels it.
Indeed. I mean, some of I have heard some very, very prominent people say, probably in the last few months, you're the product of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Well, if all you do is spend time with yourself, that can get scary.
Right.
There's a lot of echo there.
And I do tell my clients on a regular basis, why don't you listen to some positive podcasts? Why don't you listen to self-help books? Just maybe even sci-fi or mysteries or something, but something that is at least on the positive side, and hopefully something that's productive. And I don't know, Tim, if you did this while you drove, but sometimes I have drivers who will use a grease marker and make little notes on their windshield of things that's going through their mind, and helps them to organize and then get it out of their head, so then they can focus on something more positive.
Oh yeah, the famous brain dump. That's
there you go. Yeah,
something I've always said that when I quit smoking, I did so because I had a microcassette recorder in my hand during that time. And it was more or less defeating that habit of having something in your hand. It kept me from flicking the bic, so to speak, and recording some of the ideas that were just bouncing around in my head. Now with smartphones, you can just press a button and record your thoughts. That's helpful, I think.
Yeah, it makes it easy, and the person that just tries to remember everything, they have more stress. If a person can also write on paper, or you could type it out on your phone, though research does show that if you write about your feelings with pen and paper, that helps you to work through those feelings. We call that processing. Mm-hmm. That helps much more better than typing. So, but anyhow, you get it out of your head, it helps you to deal with what's going on.
Cool.
People who get stuck in the loop and they dwell and dwell and dwell, that's what makes it worse. So, that's a common issue that all of us have, especially with drivers with all the time that they spend alone.
I agree.
I think that relationships, that's the number one thing. Mm-hmm. When a person feels that they're all alone, especially a driver, that's when, the loneliness comes in, the negativity, and all of this. And it's so easy to forget that we all need to have various types of relationships. Mm-hmm. So if we look at Matt's, I was fortunate enough to be invited by a good friend, Sandy Long, who won the Citizen Driver Award. So that means that she had a TA Petro truck stop named after her.
Wow.
And there were I think a total of five award winners at this luncheon. And it just highlighted how much relationships have to do with trucking. And each of those award winners had done all of these great things for the trucking community, and they interacted with other truck drivers. Mm-hmm. They volunteered, mentored, on and on and on. And they're happier people as a result, and they're helping people. So there's that connection. There is that usefulness. With it brings pride, and it shows that they're dedicated, and the list goes on. Mm-hmm. And if you look at my typical trucker therapy client who gives me a call for the first time, they don't have a sense of belonging. They don't have so much of interactions with other people. And it just makes a person more down, more depressed, more anxious, and all of that. And as I talk with my clients of, okay, well, hey, why don't you join at least some groups on Facebook related to trucking? Why don't you get out and do something? Why don't you mentor a younger driver? Then that just helps to turn that person around. So I think that is huge. And then I'm going to pair it with food and exercise. And we know how hard both of those are.
Absolutely.
But if you can eat a little bit better, if you can walk a little bit more, and you do those three things, it's just amazing how much people change.
Oh, absolutely. And I'll throw that in there, too. Proper nutrition and exercise will help get the blood flow going to where your brain will operate better. In relationships, that's really big. That's one of the things that truck drivers have issues with, I am sure. But relationships, when you actually think about it, that's what life is made of. When you have in your religious beliefs, it's your relationship with God. In your marriage, it's your relationship with your wife. With your kids, it's if you can get a relationship with your kids. Get them away from the Xbox or PlayStation. You know, one thing that it is a hard time doing, unless you've got guys who you're around all the time. If you're over the road, it's very difficult to be able to form relationships with people. And how can people find you? How can they get in touch with you? And I think you do a radio show, or you do a spot on a radio show as well?
I do. I'm on the Tim Ridley Show on the Road Dog channel every other Tuesday at 6:30 a.m. Until 7 a.m. Eastern Time. I do a spot with Tim, and we talk about some counseling issues, and we often have callers who call in, and they talk about the issues that are going on, and we help people to work through that. My website is truckertherapy.com. You can find me on Facebook under Trucker Therapy, as well as on Twitter, and the handle is @TruckerTherapy.
Yep, we're both Twitter heads. As I found out, Twitter seems to be a very active place and a very good place to find ADD patients. So,
yeah.
Buck, I appreciate you coming on, taking some time. Is this going to be a charge for this session?
Well, you know what, Tim? For you, I'm not going to charge this time. But if there's follow-ups, then I'm going to have to think about it.
I hear you. Now, for rates and information, they can go to the website or they can call either way, correct?
Right, at truckertherapy.com. And for a standard session that's 45 minutes, I charge $50.
They can reach you, like you said, at truckertherapy.com or on Twitter, on Facebook. But again, thanks for the time, and I appreciate it. And hopefully we'll be talking in the future.
All right. Well, I hope so. Thanks so much.
And now, the Apps for Truckers Driving Motivator.
Today's Driving Motivator comes from Warren Buffett. He said, "Someone is sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago." It kind of goes a lot with what we've been talking about, with Tex Crowley talking about the driver image and doing things for other drivers, talking with Buck about relationships, to even talking with Trucker Path Pro about the things that they're doing to help drivers help other drivers. So hopefully you got something good out of this podcast, and we're talking about actually increasing the frequency, maybe going twice a month, maybe even going once a week. We're kind of testing some ground here. We've also, as I promised, we've got some video coming out. They're not going to be long videos. They're going to be short stuff that'll help, as we always say here, making life on the road easier. And when you get the chance, go over to the website. You'll see a bar up on top of the website where you can put your name and email address. Subscribe, and you will know when the next podcast or the next blog post is posted. Stay safe out there. We'll see you in podcast 12 very soon.